Hello everyone, my name is Yana Harris, and today we're diving deep into the world of cross-platform animation, and more specifically, how Lottie can help you do it in a professional, performant, fast, and extremely easy way. We will talk about how top brands are using Lottie to create stunning, engaging content. Whether you're a designer, motion designer, or developer, this video might help you find how Lottie can help your use case. First, let's take a quick walk down the memory lane. Lottie, as a JavaScript library, was originally released in 2017. However, it all originated with the body moving plugin for After Effects. I have been relying on the body moving plugin since 2016, and I vividly remember heavily using Lottie and body moving throughout 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and now I'm back to it in 2024. Lottie was released as a small passion project by a few Airbnb engineers. It truly revolutionized the way how we render vector graphics animated on the web and native platforms today. Before Lottie, creating high-quality, scalable animated vector graphics across platforms meant that we would have to either rely on exporting a very heavyweight MP4 file or choose an animated GIF instead, with both of the solutions being extremely heavyweight and requiring downloading heavy image or video resources. The reason why Lottie allows to implement very lightweight and performant vector graphic animations is because underneath we're not relying on loading a video file. Instead, we're simply reading JSON specification, which is a text file. Lottie animations are vector graphics, which means they can be scaled up and down regardless of the screen size that you require. They will look sharp and high quality equally on a small smartwatch screen as well as a large 4K TV. Since its release, Lottie has been adopted by thousands of brands. Now, you might have heard of Lottie files, which is a place where you can go for inspiration or directly download a set of assets to then play on your web application or native app. It's important to mention that Lottie Files is not actually affiliated with Lottie. It's not a product of Airbnb, and it's owned by a completely different legal entity. But I have to say, this team had made a tremendous job building a community around Lottie as a technology and provides a wide variety of tools and resources about which we will talk a little bit more down the road in this video. So why are so many brands relying on Lottie for their vector graphics animation across platforms? Well, there are multiple reasons for it. Number one is a seamless cross-platform integration. Lottie animations can be easily embedded in mobile apps as well as the web applications. There are libraries available for playing and controlling Lottie animations in JavaScript, complemented by wrappers for frameworks like React, as well as libraries for iOS, Android, and even Windows. The second reason is the extremely low file size. With an original Lottie release, a body moving plugin would export a JSON file, which could be anywhere from a couple kilobytes to 200, 300, 400 kilobytes. Large, which is a pretty small file size. But more recently, there's a new file type that has been introduced, which is a .lottie. And this file format allows for additional compression, where you will see even smaller file sizes. Another reason why it has been so successful is its interactivity. In addition to being able to play, pause, and play Lottie animations backwards, you can also rely on the interactivity of Lottie animations, which means those animations can respond to a user action, which makes them contextually aware and helping to create this immersive experience that is directly tied to the user journey. And another reason is that it's highly customizable and scalable. As I mentioned before, when Lottie is being rendered, and it is an SVG, which is being dynamically manipulated by the Lottie library. And as any SVG, it can dynamically scale up and down based on the device requirements. There have been a few improvements to the set of Lottie tools over the years since it was originally released in 2017. For example, a web player improvements. The web player had gained ability to display a playback controls, as well as changing the speed and looping in animation, giving developers more flexibility around how to display and trigger an animation on their website. Over the years, you can also see a lot of integrations with Lottie that are present in tools like Figma or Adobe XD, which makes it really easy to create your animation in a tool which you're using on a daily basis. You don't have to be an After Effects pro to be able to take benefit of using Lottie. Let's talk about a few brands that are using Lottie successfully today, and also we'll bring up one example that actually had migrated away from Lottie. So naturally, number one is Airbnb. Airbnb is heavily relying on its own invention. And as a brand, Airbnb is really well known for its precision and detail orientation when it comes to motion and animated graphics throughout their web and mobile experiences. While oftentimes we think about animation as something of a delightful experience that is an add-on on top of the core feature functionality, a correctly placed in timely animation can significantly improve not only satisfaction from the user experience, but also add clarity around the state of the application, making sure that the user is always aware if an operation was successful, or if there were errors, or if there are additional steps needed, as well as being able to successfully navigate throughout the user journey. Another great example is a Headspace app. Those of you who have been embarking on their meditation journey might have heard or even used a mobile app called Headspace. Headspace is relying on vector graphic animations to create a calming and engaging user experience. The animations are strategically placed to guide users throughout their meditation experiences, making the app feel more immersive. Another example is a smaller brand, which is a French design studio, but I would love to showcase it because of how beautiful their animations are. When you land on the Two Birds homepage, you're welcomed by this amazing, beautiful flying birds. And I just had to share this with you as an example of how animations in your web app can really help you stand out in the competition. The last but not least is Duolingo. For those of you who are embarking on a journey of trying to learn a new language, I'm confident you have heard, if not used, Duolingo. Duolingo is really known for gamifying language learning experience, and the way that they do that is with engaging vector graphic animations throughout their web and mobile experiences. One thing to note, however, is while Duolingo was absolutely a Lottie user in the past, they had recently transitioned away from Lottie and are currently using Rive, which is a Lottie competitor. You can read more about this case study and why Duolingo had chosen Rive over Lottie on their blog. I will be adding a link to this blog post in the video description. I'm happy to do a separate video on Rive. One of the main advantages of Rive, based on what I've read, is the fact that it offers even a smaller file size than Lottie. And for someone like Duolingo, which is relying on a huge amount of this animation throughout the whole experience, I can see how even marginal improvement in a file size can make a huge difference. Are you excited to start using Lottie in your own project? This can be easier than you think. I'm going to walk you through a very simple example of how you can include a Lottie animation in your existing web applications. I'm going to start with an empty code sandbox React TypeScript project. So over here, the goal for this exercise is going to be to play a Lottie animation in line right next to this and subheading. First things first, we are going to need to install a Lottie player dependency, as well as we can choose the animation that we actually going to play. You have multiple options when you're choosing which dependency to pull for playing and controlling Lottie files. My personal preference for React projects is the React Lottie player by Lottie files. However, you can go bare bones with vanilla JavaScript Lottie dependency if that's your choice, or pick any of the other third-party libraries that are out there, and there are plenty available. But just so you know, this library is actively supported and maintained. However, there hasn't been a huge amount of change lately, but don't be discouraged by this base that you see in their GitHub repository. This is pretty much up to date, and it certainly has not been deprecated. So in my code sandbox, I am going to look for a Lottie dependency in the dependencies, and I'm going to choose a Lottie files React Lottie player version 3.5.4. Now over here on their GitHub page in the README file, we are going to find some of the get it started instructions. First and foremost, we're going to need the player, and we might need the controls. I'm going to go ahead and import this into my app file straight away. So now within the usage instructions, we're going to need a source. So we're going to open Lottie files, and let's see over here. I have certainly used that at Microsoft, and I'm definitely using it again at Amazon today. Let's go find a cool, fun animation for us to play with. Within the featured animation section, let's choose a straightforward animation. Let's say this little dog walking. I'm going to download it, which takes me into the Lottie editor. From here, I can choose the file format that works best for me. I'm going to go with the .lottie file format and download it. So now, since we have chosen to download the .lottie format, we actually going to need a different player for it. I'm going to go ahead and pull the .lottie React from the Lottie files, in addition to the React Lottie player that I already had installed. You can see this library is very much up to date and was last published a day ago, but the current version is still starts with a 0. Now that I have it installed, I'm going to import the .lottie React as a player from my new library. And just like that, I have an animation playing automatically in a loop right on my webpage. If you go through documentation, you will see an example of how to set up your controls using the .lottie reference callback. And here's the prop available in your .lottie React player. You can also listen to events available within the player. Those events are play, pause, complete, frame, change, and you can find a full API for the .lottie player available on the npm.js documentation page or in the README file. One thing to note, however, is with the .lottie React player, you actually see your animation played out inside of a canvas element instead of seeing an animated SVG. That's one of the reasons why a .lottie file allows for a high compression, and that's the main difference between that .json Lottie format and .lottie file extension. Before we complete these, let's try a little fun play on hover effect instead of the autoplay. So this is a great example of when you are trying to show an animated interactive element and it needs to be activated when user is trying to hover over and interact with this element. I'm hovering over this animated dog and it starts walking. As soon as I move my mouse cursor away, the animation stops. This is extremely easy. You don't have to hook up event listeners for that specific interaction. Imagine an animated button that is trying to grab your attention when you hover it over, or maybe convey what this button is for and what it will do. This is a great use case for those interactive elements. In conclusion, I would like to say that brand is all about creating those memorable experiences. And Lottie is helping you to do just that. If you're ready to bring your animations to life and keep your users engaged, it's time to give Lottie a try. This is all for today. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know if you would like to hear a review of Rive in comparison to Lottie. Thank you, and until the next time.